Hey YouTube, how's it going? KSM Dragons here, bringing you the new structure deck of the Sacred Beasts. So it's actually quite cool by Konami, actually making the Egyptian gods playable. So obviously this just came out today. I'm going to take you through it, and then in my next video I'll bring you like a budget deck version and then finally a competitive deck version as well. But this is actually meant to be quite a good structure deck that makes them playable and competitive. So let's see what we get in the box. Cool, so we get the new playmat. Let's just open it up. Okay, cool, so on the back, this is pretty standard with all the new structure decks now. They kind of show you some simple combos. So, you know, if you got one of the Dark Beasts, Beckonings, and the ritual spell, not ritual, the continuous spell, it allows you to summon out the other two Dark Beckoning monsters, and then they eventually get you to the Egyptian gods. Sorry. I think with this deck, especially if you buy 3 of them and combine it into a budget deck, you can kind of consistently pull up Hanuman and Variel onto your field in turn 1, which for a lot of decks is actually really difficult for them to beat, like just because they've got ridiculous effects. And obviously it's got some suggestions here from like Chaos Impact, Rising Rampage, like cards you can add in, which you probably don't really need to. I think the structure deck itself probably covers a lot of what it needs. Cool, and then let's have a look at the actual mat. That's actually a really cool mat. You could just see it there. I wish these mats were like rubber, because then people would actually use them, but because the paper, hardly no one ever uses them. That's a really cool artwork though. Alright, cool. What else we got in the box? So I don't know if you know, like in the EU, they've kind of got this style of the box which traps the deck in. So then you physically have to rip the box open to get it out. There we go. There's the sort of main cover card of Variel, Lord of Phantasm, Shimmering Scrapper. Very nice artwork. All right, let's get this bad boy open. Obviously, this is the fun bit of trying to break into what they've made. Cool, and if you do like the artwork on this back cover here, you can actually use it as a token or field center, which is not bad actually. Chuck down the sleeve, that becomes a token or field center to use, which is not bad at all. Cool. We'll leave that there as we go through the cards, and then the sort of usual advertisement: Legacy of the Duelist, Duel Links, typical Konami advertisement. All right, let's go through the deck. So I think I know most of the cards in the deck, but I'm sure there'll be 1 or 2 surprises. So that's the new Variel, Lord of Phantasm, Shimmering Scrapper. Quite nice. Put that there. And then I think you get all the Egyptian gods in ultra rare. So you got Uriah, and you got Hanuman, and then Variel. Oh, very nice. Armor Tile, which is like the fusion of them, which is quite nice. Got a nice little good glare off that. And let's see what else we get. Alright, Cerulean Skyfire. So I think this is one of the new ones. So continuous spell. So you can special summon, or 2 special summon Hanuman, the Lord of Striking Thunder, using its own procedure. You can also use face down spells you control. So nice, so it doesn't always have to be face up continuous spells. I don't think you really use that effect because you get it out through one of the level 1 beasts instead. But then once per turn, while you control an attack position Hanuman, you can negate any spell or trap effect by your opponent and then change Hanuman to defense position. Cool, so if you have this, you obviously keep Hanuman face up attack, then you get like 1 negate, switches defense, and I think Hanuman's got its own effect when it's in defense position, which is pretty good. And then if a face up Uriah, Hanuman or Variel leaves the field, you take no damage that turn. So it's actually a pretty good spell card, and also in super rare. Hyper Blaze. It's got Uriah in the background. Special summon Uriah. You can use its own by its own procedure. You can use face down traps you control, so not just face up continuous traps. Then once per battle, when an attack is declared involving your Uriah, you can send one trap from your hand or deck to the graveyard. Its attack and defense become the number of face-up traps in the field and the graveyard times 1000. That's pretty good. And then for the rest of the turn, once per turn, you can discard one card, add to your hand, or special summon one Uriah Flames, or Hanuman, or Raviel from your graveyard, ignoring its summoning conditions. Okay, cool. So it gives you like a monster reborn as well for discard. Not bad. Dimension of Fusion Destruction. Banish from your hand, field, or graveyard fusion materials that are listed on a Phantasm fusion monster. Then special summon the fusion monster from your extra deck, ignoring its summoning conditions. You take no battle damage from attacks involving that monster special summon by this effect. If you control Uriah, Hanuman, or Raviel, your opponent cannot activate cards or effects in response to this card's activation. That is pretty nuts. So 3 fusion, banishing from your graveyard or your field or your hand, which is pretty nuts, and your opponent cannot respond, which is pretty nuts. That actually looks pretty cool with like all 3 in the background. That's that. And then okay, so now we're getting to the cards that actually make this deck playable. So Chaos Core. Look at the amount of text in that box. It's so tiny. When either player activates a card or effect that targets this card, or when your opponent monster targets for attack, quick effect, you can send up to 1 each Uriah, Hanuman, or Raviel from your hand or deck to the graveyard. And if you do, place 1 Phantasm count on this card for each card sent to the graveyard. So a Foolish Burial for your Sacred Beast. Then if you place at least 1, you take no damage this turn. You can only use the effect of Chaos Core once per turn. So if you literally have another way to get to your Sacred Beast and you need them in the graveyard, let's say to use the Dimension Fusion Destruction, you can just summon this in the tap mode, leave it there. If your opponent attacks it, they're a bit silly. But if you basically attack it, then you can just dump everything, which is pretty nuts. And obviously just when your opponent activate, or when a player, so you can activate a card or effect, and then Foolish Burial or the Sacred Beast, which is just pretty insane. Okay, Dark Beckoning Beast. So I think this is one of the better ones. So when this card is normal summon, you can add one of the Sacred Beasts basically, or one card that lists one of their names in the text, which is like quite a lot. So this is like a free searcher for any of your cards. And then you can add it to your deck, to your hand. And then you can only use 1 Dark Beckoning Beast per turn. Once per turn during the main phase, you can normal summon 1 fiend monster with 0 attack or defense in addition to your normal summon. So this allows you to search, add 1 to your hand, and then allows you to normal summon another monster. So that's pretty good. Chaos Summoning Beast. So I think this was the one that tributes itself. Yeah, you could tribute this card, special summon 1 of the Sacred Beasts, ignoring its summoning condition. Then you can banish this card from the graveyard, add 1 Fallen Paradise from your deck to your hand. You can only use each effect once per turn, so that's a really cool effect. So you can literally normal summon, get the additional normal summon, because this would have searched one of the beasts. This would attribute itself to summon one of them, so that's already allowing you to get one of them on the field. And then Dark Summoning Beast. You contribute this card, special summon 1 of the Sacred Beasts from your hand or deck, ignoring its summoning conditions. So that's pretty good. Also, monsters you control cannot attack for the rest of this turn. If you're setting up turn 1, you don't care. You can only use the effect of Dark Summoning Beast once per turn. You can banish this card from your graveyard, add 1 of the Sacred Beasts from your deck to your hand. So yeah, it's pretty good. And then I think that's it from the unique cards of monsters. There are some spell cards, if I'm wrong, and probably some other trap cards as well. But obviously you've got some reprints. So you've got Phantom Chaos. And then, if I remember this can just take a monster's name. You can target 1 effect monster in your graveyard, banish it, and if you do into the end phase, this card sort of gets the name and attack of that monster, and then you can use it for one of the fusion summons. So Phantom Chaos, Skyblaster, your generation tokens, Mad Reloader. This is destroyed and sent to the graveyard by battle. Send 2 cards from your hand or graveyard, and if you do, draw 2 cards. Yeah. Grave Skirmer, Dark Rainbow Dragon. Okay, not bad. Tragodia. Okay. Oh, you get a Kaiju. Get a Raiden. That's pretty cool. And you don't really mind a high attack Kaiju in this deck because your main monsters are like 4,000 attack. So that's pretty good. That's a nice reprint. Chaos Hunter. Ah, that's a good hand trap. Your opponent special summons a monster. You can discard 1 card, special summon this from your hand. Your opponent cannot banish cards, so that's quite good effect. Puppet Monster. Steigen, Street Patrol. Okay, that's a pretty good reprint. Farfa, not bad. Not sure what's in this deck. Fabled Suburel. A free discard, a special summon itself, so not bad. Chupacabra. Not sure why there's only 1 danger in this deck, so you can never use this effect. So it's a bit mad. Okay, Opening Spirit Gate. So this is the other really good card in this deck that allows for a lot of your combos. And I think you remember earlier when I showed you the map on the back, this is like the card they showed you for the combos. So you activate this, you can add one of the Sacred Beasts or monster that lists a Sacred Beast, so you can search out any of your Dark Beckoning or Chaos Summoning Beasts to your hand, which is pretty good. And then once per turn, you can discard 1 card and special summon 1 free monster with 0 attack and 0 defense, which is basically all of your beast monsters which have the effect of summoning 1 Sacred Beast. So this is a really good spell card, and this is, you kind of always want it to work. And you always kind of want to see it in your hand as well. And then once per turn, if you control level 10, you can add 1 continuous spell from your graveyard to your hand. So then you can get cards, recursion as well. So that's a really good card. Okay, Fallen Paradise. So this was listed in the text of one of the monsters. Your opponent cannot target the Sacred Beasts or Amatal in your monster zones with card effects. Also, the monsters cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card effects while you control them. If you control a Sacred Beast or Amatal in your monster zone, you can draw 2 cards. You can only use the effect once per turn. That is a mad field spell. I like how they've just got the 1 apple for Fallen Paradise. That's quite cool. Nice art. Phantasmal Martyrs. If you have at least 2 other cards in your hand and control a Sacred Beast, you can send the entire hand to the graveyard, special summon 3 tokens, all level 1, 0 attack, 0 attack, 0 attack, 0 defense in attack position. Okay, not bad. You can use it to link crime at least. Spell Chronicle, I believe that's a reprint. Yep. Terraforming, Set Rotation. Okay, that's quite a good reprint. Mound the Bound Creature. 1 for 1, another good one. Beginning of the End. Pot of Desires, once again reprinted. Owner's Seal. Okay, that's pretty cool. Field Barrier, Swords of Concealing Light, MST. Okay, Awakening the Sacred Beast. So this is the other good card. I think I remember it's like a walking skill drain. Let's just check. So this card gains effects based on the number Sacred Beasts on the field with different names that you control. So if you have 1, each time your opponent normal special summons, you gain life points equal to the attack of that monster. Okay, so not bad. Good for time actually, because if you're gaining life points, you have more life points, you'll win. 2, negate the activated effects on monsters your opponent controls. So there's the skill drain. So as I said, this deck is aimed to set up at least 2 the Sacred Beasts on your turn 1. So if you have 2 of those and this, you literally have a walking skill drain, and then your opponent needs to summon a monster with 4,000 or more attack, which is just insane. And then if you have 3, so you do have the 3rd one, any monsters sent to your opponent's graveyard are banished, so you get a Macrocosmos. And then once per turn, if you control a level 10, you can add a continuous trap from your graveyard to your hand. So once again, recursion. So this is a very good card. Escape from the Dark Dimension. So if you banish stuff, you can bring it back. So that's quite cool. Shape Sister. Special summon as a normal monster. For level 2, 0 attack and defense. But it's still considered a trap. Okay, not terrible. Imperial Custom. Mistake. Okay, that's not a bad card. Dark Factory of More Production. Send one monster from your hand to the or field to the graveyard. Draw one card. You can only use it once per turn. Yeah. Phantasm Reprint. I don't know why this was in here because we got it as an ultra and dual overload, so it's a bit crap to have it as a common. And then, oh, you actually get some tokens as well. That's quite nice. 2 Phantasm tokens, level 1s. One's got 1,000 and one's got 0. So that's pretty cool. So that's the deck, guys. So that's like the main cards of the deck. I will be putting a budget deck together of just using 3 of the decks, which is probably actually still quite competitive. And then I will put other cards to make it competitive. Like you can think of cards like Darkest Dio, Davlos will work really well in this deck because like Chaos Summoning Beast tributes itself, and then because you tributed a Dark monster, and if you've got Diablos in your graveyard, it's easy to special summon out. So there's a lot of fun things this deck can do. And then, as I said, summon out 2 Sacred Beasts with 4,000 attack. It's just going to cause your opponent problems. So really good structure, guys. I hope you enjoyed the opening. I hope you enjoyed going through the cards. Like, comment, subscribe. See you next time.